Konnichiwa, I'm John Hornick. Welcome to my Japanese Faves series where we'll cover every major type of Japanese food. This lesson is Karaage 3 Boneless, Skinless Chicken Thighs, or Momo in Japanese. Everyone loves fried chicken and the Japanese are no exception. Karaage is Japanese deep-fried food dredged in potato starch, cornstarch, or flour, in this case chicken. Here you will marinate the thigh pieces in Japanese flavorings, dredge them in potato starch, then deep fry them again to crisp them up. Karaage 2 used bone-in but skinless chicken thighs that is. The bone helped to keep the chicken tender and moist. But many people prefer boneless, skinless. So in this preparation you will use boneless, skinless chicken thighs. If you don't overcook them, they'll stay moist. You will serve this karaage in bite-sized pieces with a sauce, such as one of the sauces listed in the notes. So let's start cooking. Now the first thing we're going to do is mix our marinade. So we're going to add the shoyu to the mixing bowl and the sake, the Japanese black sugar. You could also use American brown sugar, the garlic, about a tablespoon, but as I always say, you can never have too much garlic. So if you have more than that, that's fine. And then I use about a teaspoon of ginger. You might like more. You might like it spicier. You could use more. As I always say, the amounts of the ingredients are never set in stone. You can always play with them. Now I'm going to mix this up. Now I got one question. Why do I sometimes use a wooden spoon to mix things and sometimes I use a metal spoon? Well, it really depends on whether I'm going to try to, if I need to mash anything up while I'm doing the mixing. Like here, the Japanese black sugar is pretty much broken up, but sometimes, you know, brown sugar or black sugar, they can be lumpy. So if I plan to be pressing anything against the side of the bowl to try to break it up, I'll usually use a wooden spoon instead of a metal spoon. If it's just mixing ingredients that are easily mixable, I may use a metal spoon. All right, so we've mixed up our marinade. Now, I've already put the chicken thigh pieces into the Ziploc bag that I'm going to use for the marinating. And I'll just show you the chicken pieces. Cut the chicken thigh pieces into strips. I cut them kind of the long way. When you look at the thigh, there's a long way and there's a short way. I cut them the long way, so I get 3 strips out of each thigh. And now, let's add the marinade to the bag. All right. Now what we want to do is try to get air out of the bag. Now, why is that? It's just so that it's easier for the marinade to get to all the pieces. The air itself is not a problem. So what I do is I kind of fold over the bag, try to get the air out of it, close it up, and then make sure it's closed. And then I put it into a roasting pan or baking pan. Why do I do that? In case the bag leaks, okay? So now we're gonna put this in the fridge and let this marinate for about 6 to 8 hours, or preferably overnight. Now, if your marinade is not totally covering all of your chicken, then you might wanna turn it every couple of hours, okay? All right, so this is gonna go into the fridge overnight for me, but like I said, 6 or 8 hours. Okay, now I have the oil here in my deep frying pan. You could use any deep bottom pan. You want to just have it, the oil down in there fairly deep so that if it splashes around, it doesn't splash out, right? I have a deep fry thermometer here, and I'm going to slowly bring this up to temperature, 350 degrees. As it starts to approach that temperature, moderate the heat so that it doesn't shoot past that. You want to get it at 350 and hold it there. Okay, here we have our chicken. It's been marinating overnight, and I have put it into a strainer and I shook it a few times to get out any excess moisture. That's a good way to do it. You could also just pat it dry, okay? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna toss it in potato starch. And we're gonna put a few pieces into the potato starch and we're gonna toss them around. If we need to add more potato starch, we will, okay? And we're gonna do all of the pieces this way. And then I'm going to just lay them out on a sheet pan that I have right here, and so that they'll be ready for deep frying. Okay. Okay, there we go. Pieces are all ready for deep frying. Okay, our oil is up to 350 degrees. We're going to deep fry these in batches, okay? And we're going to keep an eye on our heat. If the heat starts to drop below 350, we want to turn up the flame a little bit so we get keep it around 350. And we're going to do these in batches, and we're going to let them cook for 3 or 4 minutes. We want them to look, you know, like they're getting golden. And often when the bubbles start to subside, that means that they're about ready. But the trouble is that doesn't always happen, because it depends on whether you have the right temperature, it depends on how many you have in there, etc., etc. So we're going to keep an eye on them. We're going to keep an eye on the heat, moderate the heat, keep it around 350, let them cook for about 3 or 4 minutes. Check our temperature to make sure it's at 350, and then when it is, put in the next batch. And I'm not going to show you on camera doing all the batches, but that's how we're going to do it. Okay, now we're going to do our second fry, 30 to 60 seconds, okay? And that's to crisp them up. Again, keep an eye on your heat. You don't want it to drop. But if you've been keeping these warm, then they're not going to, you know, they're not cold, so they're not going to drop the heat very much when you put them in. But again, do them in batches, about 30 to 60 seconds, all right? Okay, let's take these out. Put them on your draining rack, or I have them on crumpled brown paper. And the moment that we take these out, we're going to salt them, okay? The salt sticks a lot better if you put it on while they are hot. So I have them here on this brown paper. Sprinkle them with sea salt, okay? Then we're going to check our temperature and do the rest. Okay, now we're going to take our pieces and cut them into bite-sized pieces, okay? I'm not going to show you all of that on the camera. We're just going to do enough to plate up, okay? Okay, now you can plate this up any way you want. I've plated them up in these little French fry baskets with a little bit of tempura paper in here. 1 slice of lemon per person. Your sauce of choice. This is my tonkatsu mustard sauce, which is in my Sauces to Die For series. And so this is Karaage 3 Momo, boneless and skinless chicken breast. Chicken thigh. You can see photos of the final dish at my Instagram, which is @Chef's Apprentice Cook Like a Pro. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.